Hello there and welcome back to the channel where today we are back with another video for the Steam Game Festival, the summer kind of demos and everything for upcoming games. And since we're a Tycoon simulation management game channel and all that, I thought I would make another video focusing on the best simulation management games that I could find from this event. Since that is what you guys are looking for. This video will, of course, be a little less produced. It won't be as much of the same, eventful editing and all that, but it's going to be more of a, here I'm recording my screen and showing you what I'm finding. So, without any further ado, let's give it a go. First up, we have Snowtopia. Now, Snowtopia is a ski resort simulation management game, a tycoon game as it would normally be categorized, where you have your little ski resort. You've got no skiing at the start, of course, and you build up little slopes. You've got quite a cool thing for building slopes. It tells you how dangerous they are, how exciting they are to a prospective skier. And these skiers will, of course, come along. They'll want to have good slopes. They'll want to have slopes that are of different levels, for beginners, for experts and all that. And as you build out, of course, you'll want to make sure you have your your services. So you're getting people from A to B. You can see there you can build things, I don't know what the name is, to get people from the bottom of the mountain to the top, and all those kind of more nitty-gritty items in the game. It is quite an interesting take. We've not had anything looking at like skiing and hotel necessarily management. It's not really hotel, but like resort management in quite a while. So if they do it pretty well on the management side of things, it could be a very interesting game indeed. If you want to find out more in the terms of the game, of course you can check the Steam page. All the links for every single game will be in the description like normal. Make Your Kingdom is a city building game. I paused a lot there. It is a city building kind of settlement building game where you have, well, you can see in these pictures here, you have a little settlement. You of course want to build that settlement out. The goal here is to win the people's, oh, they're very dark and mean looking, aren't they? Is to win your people's favor. If you don't win your people's favor, they will turn their back on you. They will go to a rival clan. I can't remember what they're called specifically, but we'll call them your rival clan, and that rival clan will come and attack you and destroy your buildings. You can see in this little gif here, there's explosions of blocks. Of course, the more people you disappoint, the more people and more power that opposite clan will get, and you don't want them to get more powerful than you, because then you're going to be absolutely done for. Is the nicest way to put that. Again, of course, this has a demo available. It had a demo available pre-Steam Game Festival, but it still has the same demo available if you want to give it a shot. The gameplay looks pretty damn good. The graphics and the UI and the layout of the game is a little more professional than some games that you get in the area, and I think it has a chance to be a pretty darn good game. That is why I mentioned it. Next up, we have a game which has been in development since I started my damn YouTube channel. It's Mr. Prepper, which is prepping for release. I love that pun. It's been there for years, but I damn well love it. Anyway, yes, like all the games, there's a demo available. That's the point of the festival. But it's a bit of a different name. The name is meant to imply you're preparing for something. You're preparing for a nuclear war. You're building, as you can see in this little trailer here, an underground bunker. You're building an underground kind of base it reminds me of Fallout Shelter kind of perspective, if that makes sense. You've got a lot of character customization and stuff. You've got a lot of more in-person stuff. You can see there he was fighting with bats or something. There's a lot more you have to micromanage quite a lot of the stuff here. Your main goal appears to be kind of taking yourself out of the planet. You seem to build a rocket of some kind underground in this base, and this is a rocket you of course have to collect materials for, collect fuel for, and basically build SpaceX underground. You also have to make sure that you keep away from the authorities. Of course, people are going to be wondering, what the hell are you doing? There is no nuclear war, so it's not like there's not going to be the FBI coming to, dig up your bunker, because we don't really want you, a normal citizen, building a nuclear rocket. Anyway, yes. if you think it's an interesting game, it's definitely an interesting look at, no, sorry, an interesting game at this point in time with, you know, the global pandemic and all. It's going to be coming out very soon, but the demo is available now, and people have said that I've spoken to that it's a very good demo indeed. Starmancer is a Kickstarter game which has ballooned into quite a big game in recent times. It is... we've got a publisher behind it now, which is something I was not aware of. Chucklefish are behind that now. Anyway, Starmancer is, you're kind of floating around in space on like a space kind of base, and you've got your little people, I don't know what you want to call them, space people, space things. I'm not doing well at that. Anyway, you colonists, that's the word I was looking for. And you want to provide for them, you want to sustain their life, you want to give them their power, their water, their air, their ability to live, essentially. Alongside that, you also want to make them happy, you want to make them feel comfortable in this new and desolate land of space. You'll have to make lots of jobs for them, you have to make sure they are doing jobs that will provide you with money, because trading is a factor in the game. If you don't trade, you don't make money. Alongside that trading, it's not just simple give everyone whatever they want. There'll be people who don't want to pay you. There'll be people who will want to attack you and instead just steal everything you have. That's the factions and kind of space pirates edge of that sword. So you basically have to make sure you defend yourself, but also allow yourself to trade and to make money. It's an interesting game, and you play this from the perspective of a powerful AI being, essentially, as like an overlord of all these humans, which makes it just damn more interesting. But the demo, the alpha demo, is available right now. Next up, we have a game called Occupy Mars. The game, okay, that wasn't the best way to word that, but still, Occupy Mars, the game is pretty self-explanatory. You are trying to colonize Mars. You want to build your base, you want to upgrade your base, you want to explore Mars as you do so. Of course, this reminds me a bit of Surviving Mars, but more in person. It's like Surviving Mars and Satisfactory put together is my perspective of the game. You'll explore new areas of Mars as well as you do this, and as you explore more of Mars, you'll uncover new materials, you'll uncover new sites to mine and to build on. Of course, on Mars, you have to be pretty self-sustained. You can't just say, hey, Earth, give me this and that. You'd have to wait a year for that. So you have to be very, very good at repairing your own stuff and finding those items that you need. It's going to be quite a tense battle of getting what you need and, you know, not dying. They also got, as you can see here, some main features, which I've mentioned already, discovering new areas of Mars. They've got a day-night cycle, which is still something I find amazing as a feature in the game. Like, isn't that normal? Survive, of course. Normally, Mars is a pretty dangerous place. And the ability to upgrade vehicles, which is quite a cool idea. You've got, if you watch The Martian, you've got these big, huge Mars rovers. They look pretty darn good to work on and fiddle around with. I'd love to do that. But yes, if you like Surviving Mars, I'm pretty darn sure you'll like this as well, especially if you liked Satisfactory to play as well. It's like those two merged together. Learning Factory is an automation simulation strategy game where you are a data scientist who is trying to understand what a cat wants, which is a pretty interesting build-up, essentially. It looked a lot like Factorio, I guess, or it will play a lot like Factorio. You've got all these factory building games, Factorio being the more popular one for me to mention. But essentially trying to figure out what your cat wants. So you build a factory which is kind of sustains itself to build what the cat wants from analyzing a large amount of data. You get to construct cat entertainment facilities. You can analyze the data with machine learning to find features and create quality stuff for your pets. You optimize and optimize everything you can. You learn how machinery works and study lots of cats, essentially. It is linked to that While True Learn, which is a game where you are trying to understand a cat as well. It seems like this person really likes their cats, the developer. But yes, that is the only other game that would have come to mind as well. You're basically a machine learning specialist who is trying to figure out how your cat knows how to code. But yes, this looks like it could be a bloody darn good game. From all the images and the videos and the pictures, it's got a very nice style as well if you focus on graphics and kind of overall layout of the game. So it's definitely one to keep your eyes out with a release date of 2021. Next up is a game I've mentioned in a series of other videos because it is a pretty interesting tycoon game, is Cartel Tycoon. Cartel Tycoon is a story-driven business management simulation game, inspired by the 80s narco trade. It's not something I'm very aware of, but I think I get the general gist. You're basically a drug cartel. Hopefully I can get monetized for saying drugs, but hey, and you function in an 80s Latin America. You have to deal with rival cartels, state authorities, public opinion, and deal with a series of products, which I am not allowed to mention. Because YouTube and all that. I find some of the mechanics I've looked into this game previously, such as you can take over cities, for example, like with your, there's a GIF right there, where like if you're in a city, the police might lock you in that city, you can't get out of it. Like they try to catch you as much as possible. You have to hide all of your products from the authorities. Getting them through borders will be a very tricky task indeed, but to go through the key features here, it's a tycoon action on an epic scale. You can grow a drug empire, you can run a huge logistics system of your farms, labs, warehouses, workshops, research centers, and delivery lines. Death is apparently inevitable, but lieutenants with unique traits take over for the drug lord before them. Oh, okay. You evade the authorities and square off, there you go, against rival cartels in the path of your profitability, and there's a procedurally generated story, which sounds interesting, and roguelike action for endless replayability. If Cartel Tycoon sounds like something you're interested in, I recommend you give it a little look. The next game that I have for you is Mars Horizon, where you lead a major space agency as you guide them and humanity towards the stars. You can construct a kind of base. If we look at the image here, you can construct a base which will be used for researching, building, and managing your rocket operations on the ground. From there, you'll have to construct buildings for anywhere from your bloody mission control and much more. You can launch not only Mars missions. Mars is of course a major focus in the game, that's why it's called Mars Horizon, but stuff like just satellites into space in general. You've got lots of science projects. You've basically got to make money in order to do your big ticket Mars missions that you want to do. You'll also have to pave your way to Mars. You'll need those satellites to map Mars. You'll need those satellites to figure out many scientific data sets that I'm not aware of, and a lot more. It's been in beta for, in a few betas that have been released, betas and alphas for you to try out, and everyone who's played it, including myself, has spoken wonders about it. So if you want to pick it up for a demo playthrough, then I would highly recommend you do. It's got an awful lot of people praising it already. Next up, we have a game called Astronauts. Astronauts is a noir spaceship life sim, as it is put right here. It is set in a solar system cut off from a ravaged Earth, which is a very interesting plot, to be honest. From there, you have to design your spaceship, how your crew, with physical and emotional needs, which would suggest you have to provide these crew not physical stimulus, some happiness items to make them happy physically and emotionally. That can be taken in many ways. From here, you basically try and survive, essentially. You build and customize your ship from the start, and you just carry on doing that. You have to make sure there's fuel, you have to make food, you have to make water, you have to make all the basics to survive in space, essentially. Same as Starmancer, we just mentioned earlier. There's a lot of apparent details inside the crew needs and the building system for your ship. From there, you've also got some crew AI, apparently, if we look through this, which are constantly going to be making different choices based on their needs. So if you don't satisfy those needs, they may not do what you want them to do. Overall, it is a bit of an interesting game. It's a very I guess someone told me they think it's a bit like RimWorld in space, which I don't know if I agree with, but because I haven't played RimWorld, but that was the opinion of someone I spoke to. Take it for what you will. A game which slipped under my radar until now by some bloody miracle is 100 Days Winemaking Simulator. It is, well, a winemaking simulator. It's got a couple differences to it. You can see in that video right there, you have that kind of small space, and that is the only small space you're allowed to build on in these little parts of the gameplay, which is already a bit different to games like Turmoil. There's another winemaking game which has completely slipped my mind. Someone will tell me in the comments though. But yes, you've got gameplay here where you will have complete control over a winery. You dictate the process, the ingredients, and all of those big items that you need to make wine. I don't drink wine. I don't know a thing about wine, so I don't know what those processes would involve, but I imagine it involves growing grapes. That's about it. You've got to balance your quantity and quantity, both with what you buy in, what you produce, and what you sell in order to make the highest profit. Looking at the features list here, it says you simulate a realistic approach suitable for both beginners and non-experienced players in the area, which is good. The simulation games which are just hard on are not really enjoyed by the vast majority. You have the ability to cultivate different types of vine, analyze the soil, and choose the grape variety that best suits those characteristics. Okay. Organize work in the vineyard, such as pruning, and shipping. Protect your vines through specific treatments. It's basically just farming in general here. You can check lots of things through the winemaking process. We'll skip down a bit, though, and as you can decide which of your wines age and how long they are aged for, which of course really gives them a better taste. I imagine that's what whiskey is made like. You can customize your bottles as well, choosing their shape, color, and aesthetic designs. You can create a sales network and adapt the characteristics of your product to suit different types of customers, and manage marketing and social activities in order to increase your company's reputation. All in all, it's a pretty fully fledged, fully stocked winemaking simulation game, and that took 2 minutes to explain. Gosh darn. Anyway, that is it for today. Those were the top 10, in my mind, Tycoon simulation management games from the Steam Game Festival here. If you want to keep up to date with these games and their development processes, I would recommend you subscribe, as we have news on Tycoon simulation management, strategy, whatever you want games every single month, every single week. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and cheerio.